Hi, I'm Matt Collins. I'd like to welcome you to Bob Weber Auto Mart on Douglas Avenue here in Racine, across from Douglas Park. We specialize in 1-year-old, low mileage, almost new cars. And if you'd like to stop by and see them, or see them on our website, bobweberautomart.com, we could save you between $5,000 and $10,000 on your next almost new car purchase.
Welcome into another edition of Sports Junkies. Time to talk some back of football. Steve Sparky, Fifer from the Wendy's Big Show on Sports Radio 1250 WSSP. Gery Woelfel of the Racine Journal-Times. What a difference 1 week makes. We said the number one goal going into that third Packer preseason game against the Raiders was simply stay healthy. They didn't. B.J. Raji gets hurt, out for the year with a torn bicep muscle. They've already put him on the injured reserve. Don Barclay, another guy, he ends up getting hurt. He's out for the year on the IR as well. Barclay had been hurt the previous week. But then last week, you get another offensive lineman hurt in J.C. Treader. And based on reports, some people think he could be out up to 6 weeks. So now they have to play a rookie from Ohio State, who you just drafted this year, to be your starting center. And no sack on the defensive side of the ball. Josh Boyd, I guess, might get the start here. You have Goyne, who's been out all year from the Minnesota Vikings.
And who?
Yeah. Well, Goyne at least played with the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah,
but he now comes in and practiced for the first time on Tuesday, I believe it was. So we'll see how much of an impact he can have. I would assume they'd like him to get that job because since he's the veteran guy and he's played it before. Which one is a bigger loss in your mind, Treader or Raji?
Neither one. You know how I felt about Raji last week. I thought he was the most overrated player.
Right.
Next to A.J. Hawk on the Packers team. Obviously you'd say he's a much better player than Treader. I mean, Treader hasn't established himself at all, so you would think that would be the case. But I really don't think it has any bearings. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has had 4 different centers in the last 4 years. I mean, you and I could go out there and snap the ball to him.
No.
You don't think so?
No, I'm good.
Oh, I do. I mean, the guy has such a quick release, I mean, you got to be god-awful, not to be a competent center in that system.
You have to understand, though. I mean, he's got to make calls at the line of scrimmage. Now, he's got Sidney in lane to help him, and as Aaron Rodgers very eloquently put it, he has the benefit of having Aaron Rodgers behind him under center.
Absolutely.
So
you know what I do?
You've got those 3 guys that help. Now, there is another scenario.
Yeah, I have one too.
Josh Sidden or T.J. Lang move into center.
Ding, ding, ding.
But then, instead of playing Lane, the inexperienced guard, they go get Richie Incognito, who is out there and been cleared to play. I hate the idea. I don't want that punk in the
So
locker.
nobody would know who he is because he's incognito? Oh, okay.
Bet you he's never heard that before in his life.
I'll bet he has.
Yeah, right.
That's why we're here.
That's the guy who was the punk in the Miami Dolphins case with Martin, the offensive lineman from the Dolphins, and then just got reinstated by the NFL, is able to play, went to the Buccaneers to visit with them on Tuesday. The Buccaneers, they make a trade for Logan Mankins from the New England Patriots, so I'm guessing they no longer
What
have
was that
interest.
trade about? That came out of nowhere.
It's a great trade for both teams. I love it for both teams. Mankins makes sense for Tampa, and the tight end that they get back in New England will fill the role that Aaron Hernandez has.
I just can't believe they gave up arguably their best offense lineman, at least in recent years.
But
anyways, getting back to the Packers. What about Derek Sherrod?
What about him?
Moving him to center.
No.
Why?
He can't even play guard. He's not an interior lineman. He's a guy that has to sit outside a tackle.
I don't know.
No.
I mean, some of these guys are versatile enough to go inside.
No, absolutely not. No. Totally against
But I like the idea of taking their best player and putting them in. I mean, you go back, now we're dating ourselves, back to the Lombardi teams. They had interchangeable guys all the time. I mean, Forrest Gregg moved from tackle to guard, vice versa. To me, it's not that big of a deal because you learn the system. Now, are you going to be able to play at a real high level? Probably not, but it's better than the alternative of throwing in some stiff who's never had any experience and isn't any good at all. I would play one of my best offensive linemen and go with the 5 best guys.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what McCarthy decides to do. I think they'll go with Lindsley, the rookie from Ohio State, to start with, and then make decisions after that. Now, the other issue is how much playing time will Aaron Rodgers get on Thursday night. McCarthy's not letting his hand out on that necessarily right now. It's at the time we shoot the video.
Who does he think he is? Gary Anderson?
Well, that went horribly wrong for the Badgers. But
I mean, who's going to start at quarterback? Gee, I wonder.
Right. But see, this is the thing. For me, I would want Rodgers to play with my rookie center. at least one series just to get some chemistry down.
Absolutely.
Roger says, not necessary. We have enough chemistry in
But that
practice.
goes back to my theory. He's the center. Big deal. If you're at least halfway.
Kind of how Rodgers is. That's pretty much how Rodgers is acting. Like
I would too.
Whoever.
Yeah.
Give me whoever. I'm Aaron Rodgers. We'll be fine.
He is.
That is pretty much how he's acting.
I totally agree with the guy. It doesn't matter who they play at that spot.
All right. Now the nose tackle on the other side, Raji spot. That normally is the anchor that helps keep the guys off of the linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't had anybody even close to what Gilbert Brown did since Gilbert Brown, being able to take up 2-3 guys. I love the rookie Pennell, undrafted kid from down at Arizona State, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I love him. This Goin kid from Minnesota.
Why would you love anybody that's undrafted and thrust them into a starting spot?
Because if you watch
on a championship caliber team.
Because if you've watched the preseason games, he's the closest thing they've had to Gilbert Brown since Gilbert Brown.
Pre-season.
I understand. But
Pre-season.
Sam Shields did what as an undrafted free agent? Busted onto the scene and made his name in preseason and ended up becoming a starter on this team. I'm telling you, this Pennell kid, I think has the ability to do just that. He's like 6'4", 335.
Yeah, you know what?
He's a huge guy
I
who
agree.
can get pushed. That's what you have to get. You have to get pushed and collapse that pocket into the quarterback and be able to play the run.
You know, I'd do, if I was Thompson, I'd play with the guys that they have available.
So they're going to do.
But I'll tell you what, after the third, fourth week of the season, if that is really, really killing them, I go make a trade. There's going to be some teams that are going to see their futures already mapped out after 4 games and realizing, hey, we're not going anywhere.
Cleveland sees their future mapped out already.
Exactly. So go out and say, hey, we'll give you a 5th, 6th round pick for your backup nose tackle.
You realize that Ted treats draft picks like gold.
Oh,
so
yeah,
what you're asking for is a miracle.
It's really paid off, too, hasn't it?
Well, I'm just saying. What you're asking for is a minor miracle to have trade for a draft pick.
I know Ted
He did
Thompson's
sign
history
Julius
very
Peppers,
well.
though. So that was different.
And you know what? He must have watched videos last week because I ripped the guy, and he had like the greatest game of his life.
Everybody has been ripping Peppers. And I don't know if it's fair or not. But
no, I mean, he's a good, solid player, but on that defense, I think his impact's going to be minimal. He'll have his moments. He's going to make plays every once in a while.
Next question. Who would be your second running back behind Lacey? Would it be Starks or would it be DeJuan Harris?
Starks.
DeJuan Harris looked awesome.
He did. You know what? And the other thing I was going to bring up about DeJuan Harris, and nobody is talking about this, and I brought this up for the last 3 years at least. They need a kick returner.
Right.
And they've been using DeJuan Harris. Again, he can't outrun you and I in the 40. He's an impressive back. He's a powerful back. He makes good cuts. He's got good vision.
They don't have that guy to put back.
Exactly. That's my point. We talked about this last year, that going into the draft, take a 5th round pick, a 6th round pick on somebody that can make things happen. Sure. And, I mean, you go back.
Janice is the closest one as far as a speed guy goes.
Right.
He's a little stiff to me. I don't know if I want to deal with that.
I mean, seriously, when the ball's kicked.
Randall Cobb is the best fit, but you don't want to get him hurt.
And he's on punt returns, which I think he's done it.
I don't want him on punt returns either.
I do. I want him out there. He's a playmaker.
I want him on no special teams.
Yeah. I mean, when's the last time you heard these guys getting hurt? For every time a guy gets hurt, it's like, what, once every 5 years?
Greg Eason, our producer, makes sure to save that part of the video.
If he gets hurt?
If he gets hurt on special teams. So we can play this back later in the year and say, he's the blame.
Yeah, you can't go in with that attitude because there have been a lot of great players that have returned kickoffs or punts, and they did not get hurt.
You cannot win if Randall Cobb ends up going out.
I don't want him on my kickoff returns, but my point is with Harris, he is not the answer.
It's the only answer you have.
Oh, they got to try somebody. Try one of their backup wide receivers. I don't know. You know what? They did with Starks a couple times in the past, right? With mixed results. I would go with Starks because he's got more breakaway speed.
No, and that's a guy that's always injury prone. I'm not getting him hurt on a kick return.
Oh, you can't go in with the attitude that somebody's going to get hurt.
I am. It's the Packers. We always get hurt. Yes. So I'm trying to pick and choose who I'm going to keep out of harm's way as much as possible.
But again, you kick off to Harris and you go, he's going to bring the ball out to the 25-yard line. Oh, whoop-de-doo. You never have that fear factor with him back there.
No, you're right about that. You have already lost 3 key players. You lost Barclay, your number one. Now again, Barclay doesn't get hurt. This isn't an issue with Treader. But because Barclay's hurt and now Treader's hurt, now you're screwed. So you're down 2 offensive linemen, and you're down your starting nose tackle, B.J. Raji. And we're not out of the preseason yet.
No.
And you're telling me you can't go in worried about injuries, Sparky.
You can't.
Oh, get out of here.
You can't.
It's the Packers. We do this every year.
If you go in with that philosophy, guys are going to get hurt. I mean,
they get hurt every year anyhow.
Football's a crazy and dangerous game. You can't have that approach.
I would. He's Gery Woelfel. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer. Thanks for tuning in to another edition.
And I'm soft, Steve Fifer.
I'm fine. Call me what you will. I'm not getting my starter shirt unnecessarily.
Okay.
Another edition of Sports Junkies, talking a little pack of football.
There you go.
Right here at RaceSeedSportsZone.com. We'll talk to you next week.